Hello, everybody. Welcome. In real relationships today, I want to talk about investment and particularly equal investment. When we're in relationships, we all invest. We invest time and effort. However, when we're in relationships, some people invest a lot of time and effort, and some people just do the minimum. So I want you to start looking at your relationship in these terms. And the reason it's so important is because if you don't have equal investment or pretty close to equal investment, you'll find that resentment will actually come into the relationship from the one who's investing too much, and the other person will just not make any effort and actually just let it run its course without trying to fix it if there's any problems or if there are any issues coming up. They don't want to invest. When we first meet, of course, we're investing quite a lot. We're investing a lot of time because we want to see them, we want to get to know them, and we're mostly making a lot of effort. We're making effort in how we are presenting ourselves, the fact that we will talk and engage with them, lots of phone calls, lots of text messages, lots of nice compliments. We'll also be investing in how we look, so we're making quite a big effort. So we've got lots of clothes on the bed before we go out because we can't decide what to wear. And the investment we're making is because we want to be our best selves, and we're very interested in this person and we want it to work. However, once we are in a committed relationship, then things can actually change, and we actually start to see a little bit more like what their personalities are like or what your personality is like. Some people think that once they have the person hooked and they're in it, they can just relax now, and there's some truth in that. You can kind of relax. The type of relaxing I'm talking about is making no investment, and that's not really relaxing, that's just being lazy, and actually it's going to spoil your relationship. As I've said before, it's like a garden and you need to water it, and if you don't water it, it will die. Possibly if you're listening to this podcast, you're the one who's investing. It takes a while to work out that it's not equal. People who invest in other people tend to just do it off their own bat. They just do it. It's just a natural process for them. They give you time, they give you support, they're always thinking about you, they do nice things for you, they make an effort, they'll come pick you up, they always take care of themselves and try and look nice, they make you a nice meal. For them, it's a natural process. You love the person you're in the relationship and you give to them all the time and you invest in the relationship and you prioritise it. And investment is a lot to do with priority. If you invest in someone or your relationship, you prioritise it. You put it above other things. Other things don't get in the way. If you don't invest, you just let it sit there, basically. You just have the relationship now and you don't make much effort towards it. And you just think it's going to be fine. Just let it exist. You don't spend as much time with the person. You're not so present. You definitely don't make too much fuss over them anymore. You've told them you love them, so there you go. And you also, I think, don't make efforts about talking to them perhaps, or seeing how they really are, or being really concerned about them when things are going wrong. You just listen and then you make no comment. You also find that people who don't invest stop making an effort in their appearance with the person. So, example, you might be going out for a special dinner and your partner's wearing their bogan clothes. They're not really dressed up. She hasn't bothered to get dressed up and make an effort, even though it's a really nice restaurant. It's these things that start to show up, and they start to create like a divide. So it's an investment divide. So you've got one person making 95% investment, the other person's making maybe 15 or 20%. And after a while, it starts to actually eat into the relationship and spoil it, because it's not right that one person does all the, I'd use the word work, but it's not really work. It's the effort, I think. One person makes the effort and the other person does the minimal amount. You need to talk to your partner about this if it's happening. You need to address this before it becomes a big problem, and it will become a big problem, because after a while you will get tired of the lack of investment if you're the one who's investing. And if your partner is investing a lot in you and you're doing nothing or hardly anything, they're going to get really cranky and tired with you, and you're going to spoil the love that you have. Because the love needs to be nurtured and nourished and shown and expressed. You can't just say, "Oh, I love you," and we're together and you look nice once and that's it. We need to support the relationship. It doesn't just stand up on its own. It needs both of us to support it. And when one person's only supporting it and the other person isn't, eventually the relationship will actually start to fall and it will start to deteriorate and disintegrate. You can see it when you look around your friends and family, and when people first met, they were so attentive to each other and investing in the relationship and making it, attention to how they're behaving and how they're looking. And then a few years later, you see them again, and it's like they don't really talk to each other and don't sit at the same couch, and they really don't give each other much eye contact. There's nothing much going on. It's really sad, I think, because things start off in great love and then people don't invest. After a while, this will start to affect the love part of the relationship, because love is actually a verb. It's not really just a noun, it's a verb. Love means you're doing things. Love means you're making the effort. Love means you're buying their favourite chocolate and bringing it home. Love means you're clearing up the garage for them because it's been bugging them. That's what love actually does. It's an action word. When you've got one person who's very actively in love and the other person is sitting on the couch doing nothing, it's going to really wear the relationship down. When you talk to your partner about this, I think it's better to come from the angle of that we're not spending enough quality time together and we need to make more effort toward each other in the relationship. I would talk as a unit rather than pick on the person. If you start with the you'll get into trouble again. You can just say things like, "I've noticed that you don't seem so keen to do so and so, is that right?" Just to ascertain where they're at and start to build into the relationship what you had before. You can actually do this by using your investment to go out for dinner more, go for some drives together, spend more quality time together. Both of you getting dressed up and going somewhere special, planning a holiday. Investment means that you are making time for that person and effort. And so if the other person's got a bit lazy or overwhelmed with work and being distracted, you can actually bring it in, but you have to see if you can do it in a way that you're both working on the project together, because otherwise you just landed up in the same position where you're doing 95 and they're doing hardly anything. If you're the person who's not making much effort, start making an effort, because you're going to lose your partner. That love you have will not stay there unless you nurture it. And nurturing it means giving it time and making an effort in the relationship. So if you've got lazy, because that's really what it is, and I'm now taking the person for granted, because that's another aspect that we start to take people for granted. You need to get back to basics and start doing things that are important. If you thought that the person was going to leave you, you'd probably jump up and down and start doing things. But because it's a quiet thing, this lack of investment is just a quiet thing that happens. And it's kind of insidious because it doesn't happen overnight. And eventually, the person is different to what they were at the beginning. You might still be the same, but they're different, or you're not the same. And then it's changed things. Equal investment is also about not the amount, but the equalness of it. So one couple might not invest very much in the relationship. It might just sort of run itself and they both love each other, but that's fine. Another couple might be high investors. They really invest in the relationship. They're very in love. They make big efforts. And then you've got the one that I'm talking about today, which is problematic, where one person's doing the majority and the other person's doing very little. After a while, the person who's doing greater investment will just start giving up. The interest will wane and they will not want to try anymore, because why am I doing it all when you're doing nothing kind of attitude. And even if it's never verbalized, you'll just notice they just stop making an effort. For example, if they always made a big effort for your birthday or whatever, now all of a sudden you're getting a much smaller present and there's no plans made. They just basically stop doing it. So then you'll end up with this problem where both of you aren't investing. You might still love each other, but there's like a little cold war going where one's given up and sick and tired of doing everything. You can go and get counselling for this, and professional help if you want to, or you can sit down and talk to each other about how are you going to make more time and make more effort in the relationship. If you don't do this, I think you're going to just land up going through the motions in the end, and the one person who's investing the most will just discontinue, and the relationship will become pretty much flatmate type relationship, which isn't really what you want, because love relationship has many components to it that other relationships don't have, and you want to keep those alive. That's the most important thing, is to keep that alive. Talk to your partner about it if you think you've got different investments in this relationship that you're in. If you're the person who's not investing, it's time to make an effort now and make more time, because you're going to lose this person. You won't lose them in a big rush. It'll be subtle. It'll be slow. And then one day they'll just say to you, I'm over it, I'm done. Sometimes nothing's even said. People just stand there and watch, and they eventually just walk away. And this is what you're going to have. And if you're the person who's doing a lot of investment and your partner's doing nothing, if you don't talk about it, try and fight for your relationship, you will be the person who walks. One day you will just decide it's not enough. And the other thing is to realise that when people are investing in relationships, it's easy to start looking out. And this is when you're more prone to having an affair or getting involved with another person, because they are actually willing to invest in you. This is a really important area of every relationship, I think, but particularly the love relationship. Have a think about it, see who's doing how much. You can probably, if you really sat down and thought about it, you could work out on a numerical scale out of 100 how much you're investing and how much they're investing. I think it doesn't mean that the person who's investing the most has to stop. I just think it has to become more equal and more balanced, and that will create much more happiness, harmony, and help the future of your relationship. So I'm sending you lots of love, and I'm sending you lots of healing, and I hope you can really work on this one, because it's very, very important.